Hi, my name is Hanna, and today we have our US tax expert Derren. We also have our US real estate and legal expert Jay. We will be discussing US real estate forensic. Hai, nama saya Hanna. Hari ini kami memiliki pakar pajak Amerika Serikat kami Derren. Kami juga memiliki pakar real estate dan hukum Amerika Serikat kami Jay. Dan kami akan membahas forensik real estate Amerika Serikat.
This podcast channel is about you, successful international entrepreneurs, successful expats, successful investors. Sponsored by HCJ.tax.
Hi, my name is Hanna and I'm from Indonesia, and currently I'm working with US tax firm. And today we will talk about US real estate forensic with Jay Knight and Derren Joseph. Would you please introduce yourself, Derren?
Thank you, Hannah. So this would be the third installment in our series on U.S. real estate for Asian investors. My name is Derren Joseph, and I'm a tax professional. Our team does international tax in general, but U.S. international in particular. And in this context, we are talking about Asian investors into U.S. real estate.
Jay?
All right, thanks Hannah and Derren. Thanks for having me here again. It's great to be back. Yeah, my name is Jay Knight. I'm a licensed real estate broker from the state of California, and I work with Asian investors who want to pathway to deal with someone in America to help them purchase property. So that's a little bit about my background, and yeah, looking forward to our discussion tonight.
So, would you please introduce the case, Derren?
Right, so we did some searching in some online databases, legal databases, where you can, because when a matter is taken before court in the US, for the most part, exceptions of course, but for the most part, they're a matter of public record. So we're going to talk about a relatively prominent Indonesian family who invested into attempted or has invested into US real estate. We won't name names, we don't want to embarrass anyone. Everything is freely available online, but we don't want to use any names in this conversation because it'll be distracting. What we want to do is focus on what happened and perhaps lessons that would be learned that would be applicable to anyone. Okay?
Yeah, sure. And do you have anything to add, Jay?
Oh, sounds good.
Okay. All right, cool. So Jay, I mean, this is your wheelhouse. So do you want to paint the scene?
All right. Yeah, this was a very tragic situation, although it probably isn't all that uncommon. If we did a little bit more searching, I'm sure that we would find quite a few of these. And basically, it is real estate scam 101. Maybe not that egregious because we don't know the actual intent of the in this case, the defendants, but it sure seems like that from an outside look. And basically what happened was a very well-to-do Indonesian family had invested some money after going to a real estate seminar that was held in Indonesia. And they were convinced to basically invest some money in what would be a limited partnership, which that limited partnership would then buy bulks of properties in the state of Michigan in America. And as a result of this limited partnership and the amount that they invested, which was going to be over $1 million, they were promised that they would be granted some sort of a visa that would allow them a pathway towards a green card and then future residency. So that was really the impetus to this whole case. Was they wanted to invest the money, and they were very enticed by the fact that they were promised high returns and good investments, and also that they would have a pathway to this residency in America. So that's kind of like the outlining area of what happened, right? So maybe you want to add a little bit more, but that's kind of it in a nutshell in terms of the overview.
Okay, sounds good.
So, and now we will talk about company registration. So I think this time Jay will have things to say more than Derren. So go ahead, Jay.
Okay, sure. I think we'll both have something to say about this topic, but yeah, I mean, in this case, it was a perfect example of where this could be a red flag. Not saying that it will always be a red flag, but it's just something that you should be aware of. In this case, the company that these investors invested in was a company that was registered to do business in the state of Michigan. This is where they were buying the properties. But the company also had its principal place of business, which was in California, which was in San Diego. So these are places that are not anywhere, if you know anything about American geography, this is not any place that are anywhere near each other. They're about a 4 to 5 hour plane flight from one to the other. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is a scam on its face, but it is something that you would want to check into to make sure that why is this company doing business and registered a LLC or a corporation or a limited partnership in this particular state, and then have their principal place of business in another state that's 5 hours away. So in this case, that would have been, if I was looking at it and I was an investor and I knew and understood the geography of America, that would have been something that would have jumped out to me as saying, wait a minute, I need to investigate this a little bit further.
I see. Anything to add, Derren?
Yeah, that's a really powerful point. And that ties into the previous video that we did. And I'll put it in the notes below, at least Hannah will put it in the notes below, which was about structuring your real estate investment. In that video, we went into a little bit more detail on how LLCs, how corporate structures are defined within the US, and that these, especially in LLCs, like a creature of the state, it's almost a hybrid entity. And you need to be registered to do business in each state that you do business. So for example, again, just being random, nothing to do with this case, but if it is you had a Delaware LLC, and that's one thing, everyone has heard of Delaware, right? So when you think, let's form an LLC, they just, it has to be Delaware. Not necessarily. You have a Delaware LLC and your real estate investment is in California, it doesn't work. So, and it's happened, right? I'm aware of a case where someone invested in a property in California using a Delaware LLC because that's a thing. And there was a dispute with the tenant. The tenant wanted some repairs done, whatever it is, there was a dispute. And then the tenant stopped paying rent. Okay, well then I need to get the tenant out. Of course, you have to go to court to do that. You can't just kick them out. And when they went to court, the court held, well, your LLC is not registered to do business in this state. So you have no standing in this court. You're not here because you have not been registered in this state. So therefore, the tenant was allowed to continue living rent-free because you didn't do the right thing at the beginning, right? So just to back up Jay's point, you need to look at the structure and make sure that whoever you're dealing with is licensed to do business in the state in which the real estate is actually located.
Oh wow, rent-free. I mean, like it's good for the renter, but it's like, if you are the owner of the property, you will lose everything. Exactly. So I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, and that ties back into this case as well, is because when the investors lost their money and they eventually wanted to sue the company, how do they know where to sue? Because the action and the fraud took place maybe in Michigan, but their principal place of business was in San Diego. So again, this comes more to a legal point, but again, this is why you have to really be careful and just make sure that you're dealing with very licensed individuals on all fronts, because here, if they would have tried to sue in San Diego, it probably would have got thrown out, but they may not have known that, and they would have wasted more money on lawyers and so forth and so on to make sure that they got the right place to sue. So we can talk about legal issues on another time. You mentioned standing, which maybe people aren't really familiar with what that really means, but we can dive into some legal issues on another video.
Okay, great.
Everything is about money, you know. I mean, like you already spend a lot of money to invest, and then later on you need to pay an attorney to make your money return, which is like almost impossible. Your money will return to you anyway. So okay.
Yeah, that's why we want to do this video, so we can really teach and educate people on these red flags, so we can avoid these types of scams and these types of problems going forward. Because yeah, I mean, you're just throwing good money after bad and vice versa on some of these things once you kind of get down that rabbit hole. So we want to avoid that from the beginning by using quality individuals and doing your due diligence.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you so much for today, and then we'll see you again soon.